Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome you to our virtual annual general meeting of Oceanus Group Limited via live audio-visual webcast or live audio-only stream pursuant to the relevant COVID-19 Temporary Measures Act, Regulation and Order 2021. We would like to remind members that this meeting is a private event strictly for members of the company, board of directors, and invitees only. Recording of this meeting by members in whatever form is also strictly prohibited. Thank you for your understanding. Now, let's kickstart Oceanus AGM FY2021.
Hello everyone, I'm Peter Koh, the Group CEO of Oceanus. Welcome to our virtual AGM. 1 year ago, we shared our vision to become the leading food tech enterprise of the future, to help our customers navigate the changing food security landscape. We witnessed how fragile our global food supply chains are. We face with disruptions such as the pandemic, trade disputes, and climate change. But we also saw the opportunity for more sustainable and resilient food systems. I'm happy to announce that since the last AGM, we have inked food security deals with various countries and with more in the pipeline. Beyond food security, we have also attained another big milestone in 2021. Over the years, we have done some incredible things. We have put the company out of near bankruptcy. We have restructured our debt, and against all odds, we have built a new foundations with sustainable profit centers and set it on a path of growth. Last year was another historic moment in our journey, where we finally exited the SGX watchlist. It was a rare feat in corporate turnarounds in Singapore and a first in SGX watchlist history, where a company has successfully made a complete turnaround after facing such a situation for an extended period of time. The watchlist exit marks a new exciting chapter for us, one that will have a ripple effects on our transformation into an industry leader as we continue to diversify and scale our growth pillars and business across the globe. That's why I'm extremely proud to show you our new brand identity today. While our names and values remain the same, we are evolving our logo and brand to better reflect our vision and position in a market as we make way in the food security landscape. Our new logo reflects our diversity and sustainability as a multi-product, multi-country company. Its design is inspired by the ocean, where everything is always in a state of motion and change, a symbol of our transformation over the years and of what's to come. Today, we are riding an unstoppable wave of growth by harnessing greater synergy across our ecosystem. 2021 was a testament to our bold decision and investment of growth, where we ramp up our revenue to a record 140.4 million, a solid growth of 52% from the previous year. To ensure we continue to stay in a strong and stable financial position, we are keeping a close watch on sustaining a measured level of growth across the board. We are building on our growth momentum and scaling like a startup, but also being mindful of maintaining a healthy bottom line and a good level of liquidity as a main board listed company. In a nutshell, you are investing in a startup with massive growth while getting the profitability and value as a shareholder. By anchoring our 4 growth pillars to an omni-channel foundations, we are reaping our new opportunities to harness more cross-pillar synergy while helping our business unit to grow collectively. The global food security issues grow in urgencies and prominence. We are also bridging these gaps we talked about earlier. Let's look at how we are doing that for our first pillar, food production. In 2020, despite production levels remaining the same, every country struggled with food security risks or fluctuating food supply. That's why we are focused on connecting food producers and merchants in new ways that will help expand their presence further down the supply chain. Last year, our subsidiary Asia Fisheries secured an exclusive contract with a major seafood producer in Vietnam to distribute seafood into the China market. This has contributed to our achievement of 1.2 million tons of seafood trade volume within China and Southeast Asia in 2021. And this will keep growing as we continue to bridge the gap between supply and demand by working closely with our food producer to expand their market and their revenue. Beyond that, we are also tapping on cutting-edge farm tech to keep us in the forefront of the food production landscape. One exciting area would be a new collaborations between our associate Universal Aquaculture as well as GoBest Group. The aim is to develop the world's first next-gen shrimp feed to produce healthier and tastier shrimp. With our distribution pillar, we have established a strong worldwide presence and a trading network of quality suppliers and distributors. And now, we are strengthening our position by expanding our comprehensive and competitive portfolio. In the past years, we have grown our distribution volume across Asia, which total up to 3.6 million tons. China continues to be one of our strategic growth areas in Asia. To accelerate our progress and geographical footprint in the food distribution industry, we have established a new subsidiary, Sino Food Group. It has an approved frozen food distributor of China Resource Wufeng, which is also a Fortune Global 500 company. This will help pave the way towards an exponential volume of frozen meat distribution in China. To further the expansion of our offering, we have also set up a new subsidiary to tap on food commodities and government goods market in Asia. We are launching our own brand of FMCG products to strengthen our market position. We will be sharing the exciting news of our new products in our website very soon. To grow our service pillar, we are strengthening our portfolio with more in-house logistics, consultancy, and marketing capabilities. These services are important to our expansion as they will enable us to harness more cross-pillar synergies to grow as an integrated ecosystem. We have set up a new subsidiary called Oceanus Tradelock focused on logistics solution and food distribution in the region. It will support the warehousing and logistic needs of food productions and distribution pillar. And more importantly, it clients in navigating the food security landscape. Since it was established, Oceanus Tradelog has already secured a contract to provide Country Foods, a subsidiary of SATS, with both warehousing and logistics service for its frozen meat products. On top of that, it advances our long-term plan to bring together international food industry players into an external customer base. As we rethink our supply chain systems, we are now adding more value by extending it with new capabilities for businesses and brands to go to market. For instance, we are exploring new business opportunities in Cambodia, led by former Singapore Ambassador Michael Tan. To tap on the growing local market and connect international businesses and investors to the Cambodian landscape, I'm also proud to share the launch of Oceanus Media Global. It's a new creative media tech company that merges our award-winning multimedia and experiential capabilities. We have launched a state-of-the-art future realistic studio, which can bring to life any immersive environment to tell your brand story or vision. In fact, if you're wondering where I am right now, I'm standing at that very studio where everything is being produced entirely in-house. Now, innovation is also at the heart of our business. Part of Teching Up means thinking beyond cutting-edge food production tech. It's also about rethinking how we can build a seamless omni-channel experience. With Oceanus Media Global, we are pioneering new audience experiences with our immersive media expertise. When the pandemic created a pressing need for brands to engage consumers virtually, we created HP's first interactive 360 virtual showroom in Asia, which created shopping opportunities from the comfort and safety of our homes. We also set a new precedent for live performance shows in Singapore. Through cutting-edge augmented reality technology, last year's National Day Parade was the first ever show to feature broadcast AR effects, which helped to create a breakthrough spectacle for the national event. Our e-commerce front, we have amplified our focus on growing our e-commerce platforms, such as SG Farmer, which have doubled our online product offering. As a result, we saw a huge boom in our sales revenue, up to 10 times more. We have also established SG eMark to spearhead the development of our e-commerce and digital trading capabilities to create more cross-pillar synergy as we expand our offering in tandem. We have come a long way since we first shared our vision of Teching Up. We promise to digitalize and expand our capabilities and offerings to grow our e-commerce platforms and revenue streams. Today, we have delivered on those, which we continue to develop our technology with the launch of our future realistic studio and many more. As we tap on technology to harness even more synergy from our 4 growth pillars, we are dedicating our energy to building a global digital exchange. This will serve to unify and amplify our business units as an integrated food tech ecosystem. Today's global food supply chain face issues such as malpractice, missing information, and market inefficiencies. Our global digital exchange is designed to be safe secure, and traceable for businesses and consumers, where we can remotely conduct trades, perform financing activities securely, track their shipments in real time, and go to market effectively. We have already commenced significant steps towards building this ecosystem, starting with the development of a digital token in collaborations with HydroX. This will be issued as part of our fundraising efforts through the issuing of digital bonds. This makes us one of the first few organizations within the region to have done so. Apart from fundraising, we envision this being applied in our ecosystem, which will enable us financing of transactions on global digital exchange, as well as real-time tracking of our food products from farm to table, and to ensure food quality. Through our Tech Hub, we are connecting our growth pillars across the ecosystem and connecting our stakeholders to more sustainable value. Before I go, I would like to share a short story that resonated strongly with me. In the world of sailing, no sailing record is harder to beat than the transatlantic record. It's a harsh journey that goes from New York to England. And this century-old record is one of the sailing's ultimate achievements. But like most sports today, sailing has also evolved in the digital age. Success is largely depend on how data can be used to build better boats, to predict and adapt to changing weather patterns. In 2016, a super maxi called Komachi set sail and broke that record, taking more than a day off, because they were able to look at the weather data and predict how they could harness the element to go faster. And that resonated with me, because over the years, we have turned the tides and make new waves in our journey, from turning around the business to exiting from watchlists. We have evolved from a traditional seafood producer to becoming a multi-product global food tech enterprise. And now, we are harnessing technology and data to become more digitally competitive, to chart a new path in the food security landscape. If you're excited about our next chapter as much as I am, I hope you'll join us and build this sustainable future together. Thank you. Hi guys, once again, how are you?
Hey,
Edward?
hey,
Hi, Doctor.
hello.
Hey, it's Eddie.
Hi.
Hope you all enjoyed the presentation earlier.
Yes, excellent. Thank you.
Well, have you all kind of warmed up with this place already?
Very much so.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again we are here, annual general meeting again. But well, instead of the usual every year that we will start introducing one by one of the directors, I thought maybe this year is a lot more interesting for us to hear a little bit from them that why they are even involved with us in this company, especially in the early stage when we are still struggling to make a stand at all to begin with. So maybe I'd like to start maybe with someone who, oh, doctor, you volunteer.
I'll take a shot at it.
Yeah, so maybe you can share with us. It's like, when you joined the company those days, the company is still in the watch list, and there's still a lot of doubts about the company and our future and all this stuff. What makes you feel that you want to take the leap forward and to come on board? And also, what do you think you can put on the table to help the company? Maybe I'd like to hear from you. I'm sure in the audience, all the shareholders would love to hear from you as well.
Yeah. No, thank you. It's a great question, Peter. Of course, when the offer was made to me by my good friend Zahidi, I needed to think about it deeply, and I did a bit of research and found out that yes, the company do have challenges. But you always want to see the glass as half full. It has potential. Yes. I thought the area of food is such an important area for Singapore. And clearly, I think by pivoting towards digitalization, you can actually bring the two together and create greater value, not just for the company, but also for the shareholders. Yes. I was moved by the shareholders who are basically mom and pop, whom I meet in my previous life as a member of parliament, where they save a lot and they're looking towards a sort of a great retirement plan. And so they've invested, and I think it's something that I want to play a part with to help them grow the company so that they also can benefit from their trust in us and their confidence in us. So I thought the company had potential, and I think that potential was something that we can realize. Of course, the immediate challenge was to get out of the watch list, and I think we worked very hard with that, and we've been able to do so within a year or two after I came in. I thought it was a great achievement of the team. But more importantly, now I believe that we can go forward with the 4 pillars that we've already identified, but importantly, leveraging on technology, which I think I can bring something to the table given my previous experience. I think the most important thing is to actually bring everybody on board to share on a common vision on what Oceanus can be in the years to come. I think the potential of bringing food and digitalization together is actually tremendous. And if we can create more value for that, I think the company will grow and will then play a very significant part to contribute to the issue of food security in Singapore. So I thought it was a mission I can associate with, and therefore I took the plunge and joined the company. So I'm glad I've been given the opportunity. So thank you very much for your
thank you. Thank you for having that leap of faith with the company and with us, and definitely with you coming on board, there's a lot for us to learn from you and also to share and see how we can actually together bring the companies to the next level.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, Edward, maybe you can be the next to our Dick chair, and maybe you can be the next to share. But before Edward actually starts sharing, I'd like to tell everybody that it all started many years ago when I just joined this company. Edward is a long-term friend, and he came by to brought some chicken rice for me, and over lunch he was just telling me that he says, you have to look into this balance sheet. You got to look at that and this, and he being a finance trained guy, so he's telling me these are the areas I got to be very careful and watch out for. Of course, I know some, and I don't know a lot of them, being not a financial guy. And I thought the best way is, why not bring this guy on board, and then he can then look into the things that he told me to look into. So I thought that was what it all happened. And I'm glad he's here with us today. So maybe you'd like to share a little bit.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Peter. I mean, certainly it was a very meaningful chicken rice meal. Yeah, I've known Peter for many years, and when we were in the Rotary days, and also Zaidi as well, we came from the Rotary Foundation, and I've seen Peter work in many community projects, servicing the community under his leadership. So I'm confident of his leadership. And when we had the chicken rice meal that time, I had a look at the financials of Oceanus, and I was thinking, gosh, it's really in financial troubles, and we need to do something about it. And knowing Peter and knowing his leadership, I know that he's going to take Oceanus out of this watch list. And I'm very glad that he asked me to join the board. And we worked very hard over the last many years together with the board of directors and together with the team, the management team. He's built up a solid team. Just imagine when the times where we didn't have any governance, no controls, the balance sheet was in trouble, P&L was in, we're making losses. And to be where we are today is just awesome. It took a lot of hard work. And now with the management team, together with the board of directors and a solid vision going ahead, I have no doubt that we will continue to take Oceanus to the next level. So thank you, Peter, for
thank you. No, I
being
thank
part
you
of
guys.
this
I
journey.
thank you for believing in us and that's exactly what we do. And I think a year ago we were sitting here and there's still a lot of questions asking about whether will we be out of the watch list. And well, at least this year, today, we're sitting here and this is no longer a questions to begin with. But before I go further, maybe Zaidi, you would like to say something as well?
Yeah, I didn't bring any chicken rice. I just got kopi o kosong, which is my favorite drink. But I think we should also appreciate the support of the shareholders for giving opportunity to the management and the board of directors. And as promised last year, we say that we are going to update the outcome of the watch list, and we are happy to update that we are out of the watch list. And I think it's through the hard work of everyone, and especially the management as led by Peter. As we go along and as we have experienced since 2 years ago, COVID, food suddenly becomes a critical item for Singapore. People start to hoard their own food, and we being the hub, and we are not a major food producer, are at a high risk of not having enough food for ourselves. So Oceanus has taken that direction and is keen to be a key hub for food, and hopefully not only be able to become the leverage for food supply to Singapore, but also to the region and possibly to the world. And the key item is actually technology, and happy to have Doctor on board. And of course, the numbers people are always very important. And hopefully we can perform this function, and with the 4 pillars that we have on board, we could be a very strong company with food as the emphasis. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Zaidi. Thank you for being here, and for those of you who are back home listening to us or looking at us, it's like we could be seen to be in this comfort seaside resort. It's nothing more than a visual set. Behind all these things, there's a lot of sweat and there's a lot of tears in it. And I guess for the company to come this far is there's a lot we have to thank all the board of directors here that actually have come in with us. Like when I joined the company those days, the company was really in a very bad shape. And recently, there's this banker was saying that this company is very unique. We started actually not swimming, we started actually diving. And we dived for quite a while before we actually surface and start swimming. And today, finally, we are starting to see the land and we are coming for a landing. And for all the 3 board members who are with me that actually came by when we are still in the watch list, is that it's more than just a leap of faith, but they really put in a lot of hard work to help the company to where we are today. And I really like to thank you all 3 very much. Thank you. And of course, for the newest member of our team, this Clifton here. So we also felt that we being senior and more experienced people, like my board member is saying, avoid the word O. And now that the company is going towards teching up and technology, it's always good to have a diversity in the board, to have someone who is of a different age group to actually give a different perspective in what we are going to do, which is a lot more important for giving us that different perspective rather than all of us from the more or less the same era. So, but Clifton, tell us why do you decide to come on board?
So basically, I see a lot of potential in Oceanus, and I'm very happy with the current direction in transforming the company from a traditional farming business into using new technologies to help improve the 4 pillars. And I think we're on the right track to be the global leader in the industry. And I hope I can bring different ways of looking at the problem to help solve any issues we have in the future.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Kriflin.
Great.
So, it's always a tradition in this company whereby being the newest and youngest member of the board member, you are generally tasked to do the job as the chairperson for the AGM. So this year you're nominated to be the chairperson of this AGM.
Ask him for chicken rice.
Yeah. So, well, let's welcome you to the podium then.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Cleveland Kwaka, non-independent, non-executive director of Oceanus, and I have been nominated as the chairman to this annual general meeting. I have been informed by the share registrar that we have a quorum and we shall proceed with the formal business of this meeting. The notice of the AGM dated 14 April 2022, which has been released to SGX ST via SGX Net on 14 April 2022, shall be taken as read. Members are still apprised of the AGM proceedings, including the substantial and relevant comments, all questions raised by members, and responses from the board and/or management prior to or at this meeting through the publications of this meeting's minutes on SGX Net and our company's IR website within 1 month after this meeting. If there are any technical disruptions during this live webcast and audio transmission, please bear with us. Thank you for your understanding. As set out in the announcement released to SGX ST on 14 April 2022, the important notice to shareholders in relation to the conduct and proceedings of today's AGM, the arrangement for submitting questions in advance of the AGM contained therein, both live webcast and audio only, allows you to view and or listen to the AGM proceedings respectively. Members are also allowed to submit questions via the live chat function, and we will respond to relevant and substantial questions raised at the end of this meeting. I would also like to inform that we have addressed the relevant and substantial questions received from members in advance of this meeting, and our responses has been released to SGX ST via SGX Net and the company's webpage on 22nd April 2022. We now proceed to the Q&A session for any questions raised by members via the live chat function during the meeting. For this session, I will be handing the stage back to Peter, who will open the floor to our shareholders for some questions. Peter, please.
Thank you, Kriflin. The company has received a number of questions from our members via the live chat function. So now let me deal with the questions one by one. Dwayne, you want to start with the first question that's on the chat?
Thanks, Peter. So looking through the queries, there are quite a number of questions surrounding Oceanus' recent downtrending share price. So I guess, if we dive straight into this question, I think the number one question in shareholders' mind currently is, what are your views on this? And secondly, what steps are management taking to address this?
Okay. These are questions that is often asked in every AGM, but just like in every other AGMs, I always say the same thing. A management and the board of any company that is listed in any exchange, I think their key function should be looking into how to actually making sure that the company is profitable, and at the same time, how the company can continue to grow and grow really, really fast. I guess at the end of this is that the whole thing is about building the fundamental of this whole business, building a business that actually will see the ends of times, and whether there's some situations around the world like COVID or war or anything, whereby how the management can then actually sail the company to a path whereby it continue to do well. I guess that is the key role what the management and the board should be doing, rather than staring at the screen all day long and looking at how we could actually do something to make the price better. So I personally believe that when the fundamentals is rock solid, slowly but surely things will take care by itself. Now, having said that, when it says that what the company is doing, I think what we are doing is basically to ensure that every of our shareholders in the long run, this company will continue to grow and grow to a point whereby you will probably see some huge results, but rather than it's a spike that has got no real fundamentals. So to me, I think the company, my team, my board, we are very fixated that we wanted to build this company into the next big thing, not just in Singapore. So I guess if you guys are with us on our long run, stay on. Win, what's next?
Thank you, Peter. So the next question will probably revolve around the current geopolitical landscape. Running through the questions, a lot of us, we're facing currently the rising tension between US, China, the Ukraine war, disruption of the supply chain in China. So I guess on the forefront of a lot of the shareholders' mind, it seems is, how does this affect the business of Oceanus?
Okay, good questions. I was interviewed by one of the radio channels during the hype of the COVID. And if you look at our result today, you realize that over the last 2 years, we continue to experience huge growth despite what the world is going through with this whole COVID situation. I guess at the end of the day, what I told the interviewer then was Oceanus was built on a backdrop that we came on board and the company was already an insolvent company. And when we actually got ourselves out of that insolvency, we always constantly remind ourselves that where we started right under the water. And then when we got on board and we say that we should not be resting by our laurel, and we have to actually start planning what should we be doing. And each time we will remind ourselves that if we are not careful, we can always fall back. So we are always very careful and very mindful that for us to be where we are today is nothing short of hard work, determination, and the list goes on. But it can also easily go back to the old days if we are not careful. Therefore, we are always looking at the worst scenario. I remember back in 2018 when we got out from our restructuring and we were no longer insolvent. And I told the shareholders in one of the AGM, I says that, if today we are basically a ship that is with all the holes patched, we got no immediate danger of sinking. But that is about it. We are drifting aimlessly. And if we are hit a rock or a cliff, we'll go down all over again. So the important thing is fixing the engine. Important thing is always be mindful and always making sure that we are prepared for anything that happen. And that's exactly what we do. And it's exactly because of that. That's why during the COVID, instead of suffering, we actually did even better than before, and we continue to grow. So I guess the key thing is always be ready for the worst. always like to always tell my team that, and I always remind myself the same thing is what Winston Churchill of Great Britain, one of the great Prime Minister of Great Britain, and he always says that never waste a crisis, because every crisis is an opportunity, and that's exactly what we're doing here. Well, Dwayne.
Thanks, Peter. I think you touched a bit on food security, and I think it'd be interesting to sort of bring forth this question we received, which was, Oceanus is a Singapore company. So how is Oceanus going to contribute to the food security of Singapore?
Well, Oceanus is a Singapore company, and obviously Oceanus will have to be involved, be it directly or indirectly, with the national food security agenda. Now, as we are today, we have actually signed up deals with SETS, and we have done many collaborations with local farmers and also with local distributors, as well as overseas distributors and all this stuff. Now, that is exactly what I've been doing, and so we are doing quite a fair bit of it. But I can't say more because national security.
Got it. So moving on, we've got some questions, which is on.
So sorry, just to tell you, are we doing something? Yes, we are. But can I elaborate? No, we cannot. So that's the answer. Yes.
Understood. Thanks, Peter. So I guess again, on the food security angle, there are some questions asking for an update in terms of the food tech hub in Hainan. So this was a venture that we announced a few years back, where it was in collaboration with Hainan Raffles Group.
Yeah.
And there are some questions, asking, what is the status of this venture?
Well, I mean, truth to the matter is that there's nothing happened until this stage at this point of time. Simple reason is because as a management, we have a great deal there. But when we have a great deal at that point of time, that was all. And then what happened the next 2 years is there's this COVID thing. We can't travel, we can't see. Now, being a responsible company, we have to make sure stuff for the shareholders, you guys. And we have to make sure, even without you guys asking us questions on like once a year during this AGM, because look, if we cannot be there to monitor the thing, and we cannot be, because of the restrictions and all the stuff, and even we do go, and it will be not as smooth as before. Now, it's only prudent for the company to slow down it, to wait before we just jump in and then invest and put in our money. Because to me, that is the easy part. The difficult part is to monitor the growth of the company and to monitor the situation. Now, we are very well aware how things go, and it can go wrong very quickly. I mean, Oceanus is not short of all this experience when in our early days when we have farms all over China and it's losing a lot of money. So to us, is if we want to go into any venture, we got to make sure that the control must be there. And because of the current situation of restrictions in traveling and all this stuff, we are putting it on hold for the time being, because we can't afford to lose. Yeah.
Thanks, Peter. I think what's interesting is, there are some shadows that have been posting messages of encouragement to the board and the management team. In fact, one of them has just mentioned that, they trust you 100% and they have no questions.
Oh, thank you very much for all that gentlemen who say that. We truly appreciate it. I think my team and myself truly appreciate it. And like I said back 7 years ago, we are here because of you guys and not because of anything else.
So moving on, we see a question that mentions that, in your presentation, there's a lot of focus on the teching up, a lot of buzzwords revolving around blockchain, digital exchange platform. So the question is, when will the company actually start to see real returns on these ventures and teching up exercise?
Okay, let me answer this question in two stages. First, this teching up is not new to begin with. For those who were with me in my earlier AGM, you all know that we plan the company in 3 stages. First is the cleaning up, which is obvious. And then next is the building up, which what we have been doing for the last couple of years. And then right now we are embarking on teching up. Now we say that right from the start of our journey. Reason because this is how it has got to be. I mean, look, we got to clean it up because when we joined this company, those days the company was in a terrible stage. So we got to clean up, do the restructuring, get back control of the farm, so on and so forth. Then when we do that, I say the ship basically it's not in any immediate danger of sinking, but the fact that it got no sail and it's drifting aimlessly. So we got to build the fundamentals and get the business going, and that's what we have been doing. Now that we have done all this stuff, of course, we continue to grow the fundamental business, but what's next? Evolving the business is the key. Now, today, if we do not evolve, and we can see around us is technology is all over the place. So we could be doing well today for what we have done, but if we stop here, it's as good as resting by our laurel again, and we will never know what's going to happen in the next 5-10 years. Just take, for example, I mean, 20 years ago or 10 years ago, when people say buying things through a handphone, to me is absurd. But today, this is happening all over the place. Now, if I, as a commander of this company, I do not take that approach to always evolve ourselves into what is the next big thing and then bring the business along with it. We could end up becoming the dinosaurs of tomorrow, despite the fact that we are doing all right now. So we ought to be always in the forefront of what's happening. Now, on the second part of the questions, you're saying that when are we going to see results? Take a look around ourselves. A lot of the startup, a lot of the tech company, they're losing billions of dollars. To say teching up is an easy word, but to go through that and to go through that process is a really painful one. And a lot of all these startups, they could actually do it. Even for them, it takes 5-10 years to build it up. But during these 5-10 years, if you can read in a newspaper, they burn billions of dollars. And each time after they burn the money, they will go out and raise more money and they continue to burn because they're startup. But for us, we are not. We are a publicly listed company. We are bounded by the SGX rules and regulations. And we also have to be responsible for you guys out there who actually invest in us. So it's a matter of balancing, meaning that we have on one hand, be very mindful that we cannot just business as usual and just stop doing and stop thinking. But at the same time, we also have to do it in a very measured way whereby we can't just throw everything in and then start losing money. So we have to make sure that we continue to grow, continue to develop into technology, but while at the same time be very mindful on our bottom line. So for you guys out there, I think it's the best of two worlds. I mean, it's like you invest in a company that is like a startup, but at the same time with a huge growth potential, but at the same time not burning through the roof because we have to assure that. So I guess this is what it is. So having said all these things is that how do we see fruits? I can't tell you this. I mean, I'll be lying if I tell you guys by next year you can see this, or by what. But it's all emotion. It's all a process. Just like I can't tell you guys those days that we're going to be doing this well, we're going to be that well. But all this while, from day one until now, I can only guarantee and to all my shareholders out there that we will do our best. And if anything at all, is that we will put you guys ahead of anything else. But we can't give you empty promises and things that by next year this is going to happen, by that. But we are working very hard. And I think you can see that there's a lot of changes and a lot of development. I think we are probably one of the very few public listed companies that grow at this kind of rate. It's like we are behaving like a startup, but yet we're still a public listed company. Wayne?
Thanks, Peter. So just to round off a few questions, I think this is centering around corporate actions that the shareholders are asking about, and this also again comes back to share price.
Okay.
We see some queries asking, is there any value in Oceanus remaining a public company, or should it be a private company?
Well, to begin with, this answer of this the answer of this question is, first we got to take a look back at what is the value of this company today. Now, back in the early days, this company, at the worst stage, it was like, what, 10 million market cap? Today is easily, what, 400-500 million market cap. So if you want to take it private, first, we got to find someone who can come out with that 400-500 million. As far as I'm concerned, I have not found that somebody yet. And I think we are quite happy being listed.
Thanks, Peter. Then part two of that question is, how about share consolidation?
Well, that is another thing that we've always been asked as well. I mean, I look at it as that this is one thing that we will consider down the road, but maybe not at this point of time.
Thanks, Peter. So I guess to round off, I mean, we do have still quite a number of questions, but I think you've answered.
I got the signal from the producer here saying that we're running out of time, but I look at it as that we only meet my shareholders once a year, and it's now through a screen. So I rather want to spend a little bit more time. So try to rush out. We can answer as much as possible.
Sure, okay. Looking through, I think one of the questions, maybe I'll throw out is, because Oceanus has quite a few different segments right now in terms of the pillars. And we see a question asking, which of these segments do you see the highest level of growth in the coming years?
Well, I guess in the years ahead, I will see the innovation pillars will be the one that will grow the most, because it is right now we are saying that we are moving on the phase of teching up, and we would want to transform this whole company into a food tech company. So we started off as a traditional farmer, and today, for what we have done, and then we are moving towards the next phase, and the next phase is to become a food tech company. And well, I guess the technology part will be the next big thing for us.
Thank you. So next question would be, do you see any similar emerging competitors of Oceanus coming out in the next few years?
Not that I do see, at least not in Singapore, but the world is so big, I can't say for sure that in any that is like us. But for whatever we are doing, I mean, in my last AGM, we say we are focusing into the food security, and we are trying to bridge the gap, and that's exactly what we are doing right now. So if anyone go to ROC or ACLA to register a new company, I don't think you see I don't think you can see many companies out there with their principal business activity food security. So I think we are quite unique.
Sure. This comes back to food security. It's, I understand it's a bit sensitive, but there are some questions asking, can you share a bit more about the collaboration with SETS, our country foods? It seems there's some level of interest to understand a bit more about, Oceanus in the logistics and warehousing space.
Well, for obvious reason, I can't share a lot, but I can say that has a lot to do with the food security. But it don't end there. I mean, I look at it as that currently we are doing the cold chain logistics. We're also doing other stuff. And also, when I say it don't end there, it also don't end with just Singapore. I mean, we are doing something in China, and we're also right now pitching to other countries. So, but again, business such as this is unique in a way whereby, how you call it? It's unique in a sense that you don't have a lot of competition, but while at the same time, we have to be very mindful about what we can say and what we cannot say, because to us it's just a business, but to our customers it's national security. So I hope you guys out there understands.
Thanks, Peter. The next few questions I'll try to fit in is revolving around fundraising. So the first question is, are there plans to raise more money?
Raising more money. Not at the moment. We just finished one round of fundraising, and we obviously not looking at it in the near future. I guess right now is from whatever exercise we have done now, moving forward is how do we then take this fund that we raise and to then move to use it carefully to bring us to the next level on what we are planning to do. So yeah, the short answer is no at this moment.
So again, on fundraising, this current AGM, the shareholders are approving the fundraise for a few parties. There are some shareholders who are asking, who are these investors, and will they fit in strategically with Oceanus Group?
They do, of course. In fact, the one of the largest contributor is our largest shareholders currently, Alacrity, and on the very first instance when they actually came on board, they already know, for one thing for sure, is that they are moving on a long term and they're seeing a future in this company. Because back then when I spoke to them, to the boss, I did say that, what can you help the company, because this is a very unique company. I mean, if you are looking in the short term, there's nothing to offer. There's nothing the company can offer, but the point is, what can you also offer the company to then work together with us, and how do you then see work with us and then grow the company? And that's also the reason this time around I also to have a thank you to them, that when we want to do fundraising, they were very spontaneous, and they straight away come out and help us with the fundraising, and in fact they put in the most money. I guess it's nothing short of a vote of confidence, and also delivering the promise back then, and for that I think I'm really, really appreciative.
Thanks, Peter. Well, looking through, I think you've covered all ground. You've covered the gist of it. I think we'll probably look forward to the next opportunity of forum to answer further questions, but I believe this will be most of the questions we receive from the ground.
I'd like to thank the members for their questions. With that, I conclude the Q&A sections, and I hand the stage back to Clifford for the formal proceeding of the AGM. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. For the conduct of the voting, a member, whether individual or corporate, must appoint the chairman of the AGM as the proxy to cast a vote according to their instructions. All resolutions at this meeting are voted by way of a poll in accordance with the main board listing manual of the SGX ST and the company's constitution. The company has appointed Boardroom Corporate and Advisory Services Private Limited as polling agent, and Reliance 3P Advisory Private Limited has been appointed as scrutineers for the purpose of this poll. The validity of the proxy form submitted by members by the submission deadline on Tuesday, 26 April 2022 at 2 p.m. have been counted by the polling agent and verified by the scrutineers. Without further ado, we will now proceed with the formal business of the AGM. The first item on the agenda is to receive and adopt the director's statement and the audited financial statement of the company year ended 31st December 2021, together with the independent auditor report thereon. I propose that the director's statement and audited financial statement for the year ended 31st December 2021, together with the independent auditor's report thereon, be received and adopted. As the vote has been counted and verified, I would like to announce that for Resolution 1, we have received 100% voting for the motion and 0% voting against the motion. Based on the result of the poll, I declare the ordinary resolution 1 carried. Before we proceed to resolution 2, please note that each of the directors and their associates has abstained from voting on the resolution 2 to 3 to the re-election of himself as the director of the company. We will now move to resolution 2. This second item on the agenda is to deal with re-election of Mr. Zaidi bin Abdul Rahman as director. Mr. Zaidi is retiring under Regulation 111 of the company's constitution and Rule 720(5) of the main board listing manual of the SGX ST. Information on Mr. Zaidi can be found in page 10 of the annual report. Mr. Zaidi has signified his consent to continue in office and will, upon re-election, remain as the independent, non-executive director of the company, the chairman of the nominating committee, and member of the audit committee of the company. I propose that Mr. Zaidi bin Abdul Rahman be appointed as director of the company. As the vote has been counted and verified, I would like to announce that for Resolution 2, we have received 99.88% voting for the motion and 0.12% voting against the motion. Based on the result of the poll, I declare the ordinary Resolution 2 carried. We will now proceed to Resolution 3. As this resolution relates to re-election of myself as the director of the company, may I ask Mr. Dwayne Ho, the Chief Financial Officer, to take over the chair at this juncture.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 3 is to deal with the re-election of Mr. Cleveland Quokka as a director. Mr. Quokka is retiring under Regulation 121 of the company's constitution and Rule 720, subsection 5 of the main board listing manual of the SGX ST. Information on Mr. Quokka can be found in page 12 of the annual report, and Mr. Quokka had signified his consent to continue in office and will, upon re-election, remain as the non-independent, non-executive director and a member of each of the audit committee and remuneration committee of the company. I propose that Mr. Cleveland Quokka be appointed as director of the company. As the votes have been counted and verified, I would like to announce that for Resolution 3, we have received 99.98% voting for the motion and 0.02% voting against the motion. Based on the results of the poll, I declare the ordinary Resolution 3 carried. I now return the chair to Mr. Quokka to resume conduct of this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Ho. We will now proceed to Resolution 4, that is to approve the payment of director's fee. The board has recommended 160,000 Singapore dollars being payment of the director's fee for the financial year ending 31st December 2022, to be paid quarterly in arrears. Please note that all directors and their associates have abstained from voting on this resolution. I propose that the payment of director's fee of 160,000 Singapore dollars for the financial year ending 31st December 2022 be approved. As the vote has been counted and verified, I would like to announce that for Resolution 4, we have received 100% voting for the motion and 0% voting against the motion. Based on the result of the poll, I declare Resolution 4 carried. Resolution 5 of the agenda is to reappoint the company's auditors for the ensuing year and to authorize the directors to fix their remuneration. RSM Cho Lim LLP has expressed its willingness to accept reappointment. I propose that RSM Cho Lim LLP be reappointed auditor of the company and the directors be authorized to fix their remuneration. As the vote has been counted and verified, I would like to announce that for Resolution 5, we have received 100% voting for the motion and 0% voting against the motion. Based on the result of the poll, I declare the ordinary Resolution 5 carried. As no notice has been received to transact any other ordinary business at this meeting, we shall now move to the special business on the agenda. We now proceed to Resolution 6, that is to authorize the directors to issue and allot new shares in the share capital of the company pursuant to Section 161 of the Company Act 1965. The text of the resolution is set out under Item 6 in the notice on page 148 and 149 of the annual report. I propose the motion as set out under Item 6 of the notice. As the vote has been counted and verified, I would like to announce that for Resolution 6, we have received 99.91% voting for the motion and 0.09 voting against the motion. Before we proceed to Resolution 7 and 8 on the agenda of the meeting, members may wish to note that the rationale for these proposed transactions to be deliberated and sought approval from members today are set out in pages 12 to 14 of the circular to shareholders. For Resolution 7 and 8, may I ask Mr. Dwayne Ho, the Chief Financial Officer, to take over the chair at this juncture.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 7 of the agenda is to approve the proposed placement of an aggregate of 369,565 new ordinary shares in the capital of the company to PY Opulence Investment Private Limited, Golden Summit International Limited, and Alacrity Investment Group Limited. The text of the resolution is set out under item 7 in the notice on page 149 of the annual report. All pertinent information relating to this proposal has also been set out in the circular to shareholders. I propose the motion as set out under item 7 of the notice. As the votes have been counted and verified, I would like to announce that for Resolution 7, we have received 99.79% voting for the motion and 0.21% voting against the motion. Based on the results of the poll, I declare the ordinary Resolution 7 carried. We now proceed to Resolution 8, that is to approve the proposed issuance of 4% convertible digital bonds due in 2026 in the aggregate principal amount of US $6 million to Alacrity Investment Group Limited. The text of the resolution is set out under item 8 in the notice of page 149 and 150C of the annual report. All pertinent information relating to this proposal has also been set out in the circular to shareholders. I propose the motion as set out under item 8 of the notice. As the votes have been counted and verified, I would like to announce that for Resolution 8, we have received 99.77% voting for the motion and 0.23% voting against the motion. Based on the results of the poll, I declare the ordinary Resolution 8 carried. I now return the chair to Mr. Kwaka to resume conduct of this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Ho. This concludes the business of this AGM, and I declare the meeting closed. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining our live webcast AGM. On behalf of the board and management, we would like to wish you and your loved ones good health and stay safe during this challenging period. Thank you.